I got on my timeline right now who claims that he's been making well into the six figures for a few years, got a corner office with a lake view, and now he has to drive Uber and DoorDash and Spark and wow. Cry me a fucking river. Did he really just get on here with everyday people who don't make six figures in several fucking years? Crying about his life is getting difficult? Downsize your life. Don't get on.
So one thing I don't like that I've seen going on lately with a lot of people online, they'll receive information from wherever they're getting it from, whether another individual or something that they seen. And now they're making statements of fact that are actually covered in a lot of assumptions. How do you know for sure that he hasn't already downsized his life? If all you heard was he complained, how are you making the statement of fact to give him unsolicited advice that he needs to downsize his life? I think OGs would call this type of person pocket watchers because she could have just watched the video and moved on. Why are you getting so emotionally captivated and caught up by what somebody else has to say about their situation in the economy? You can just watch it, have your thoughts about it, positive or negative, and move on. Why are you so emotionally bothered by what this dude has going on in his situation? And the only premise that you have going on is the fact that he clearly must seem like makes more than you, because I just can't imagine you if she made 160 plus that she would really had felt the need to make this video. I just find that difficult to believe right now. That's just my assumption, but I just find that difficult to believe. See, even right here, I don't know who this person is, but I guarantee you he has a gambling and a snowflake habit. I don't know what this part means, but what I will say is this. How can you guarantee he has any type of habit if based on this sentence I can tell you don't know who he is? This is what I'm talking about. You receive 10% of information and you're making claims as if you understand 90% of the situation. You don't know shit. I don't understand why people do this. You're making presumptive statements, but you're expressing them as fact. How can you guarantee he has a gambling habit? Do you know him? Honestly, from reading this sentence alone, the phrasing tells me you don't. So I don't see how you can guarantee he has a gambling and whatever the hell that means habit if you don't personally know the person.
TikTok bitching and complaining. Live a life you can fucking afford if you can't afford that six figure life anymore. Like us regular folk. Hey, making $20 an hour and making $15 an hour is a big difference. You can't live a $20 an hour life on a $15 an hour budget.
Actually, some places you can live a $20 or $15 hour lifestyle, but it's relative to your environment. And extremely low. There's plenty of towns and even some states where the cost of living is just substantially lower than what most people believe. Like if you live in the DC area or Virginia area, Maryland, Los Angeles, California, even Washington State, I believe is relatively expensive. Where else? It's some other places, some other states. Even just those places alone, the cost of living is substantially higher. So if you're making 10, 15, $20 an hour there, especially if you're in parts of the states that is definitely more expensive, like the DC metro area, yes, living on that type of lifestyle, no matter how much you downsize, you damn near gonna be pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. I'm absolutely certain you would. You may have a tiny bit to save, but that's about it. If you try to maximize savings, you'll be paycheck to paycheck. If you try to have some room to spend, you would save less, but at least you have something to spend. If you had no debt, this is under the assumption you have zero debt, no car note, no credit card debt, no student loan debt. So, but if you take that same person and you place them in the back corners of Maryland, Virginia, Missouri, whatever case may be, and they still can make that same amount, they'll be perfectly fine. There's places in the US where you can make $20 an hour and the living situation is really only $10 an hour if you did the math. But those places typically people don't want to live in. Rightfully so, to be honest. There's a lot of reasons you don't want to live in some of these areas. So then what's the solution to the problem? Well, usually it's just try to make more money, make yourself more marketable, pivot into a different industry that will eventually pay you more versus complaining. So if your complaints is with lack of action, then yeah, I would think you bugging. If you're complaining about money, but you're taking action, I don't see an issue with that. It sounds like from what she said, based on the information she did say about this dude, he's just complaining that he has to do a little more work to keep things going. We don't know if he downsized or not. We're not looking at his Excel sheet budget. He could have probably already downsized, but when it comes to having a house and a mortgage and kids, some things you just can't. What, you going to downsize the kids? You going to downsize them? You going to just get rid of them because you can't afford them right now? You just going to lose your house and now have to worry about paying ever increasing rent prices? Some things you just can't. There's no one-to-one solution sometimes. Sometimes you have to take what's going on with you on the chin and do a little bit extra work for the time being to continue to make ends meet. Sometimes you can't just drop it. Yeah, your solution, the guy could want to get rid of his car to downsize, but if he needs the car to get to work, if he needs the car to pick up his kids, if he needs the car to handle other businesses that require his presence, he can't do that losing the car, and now it's going to take him longer to get to work. It adds more issues to what's already going on. So I just think she's pocket watching, and she in her feelings about the fact that this man makes more than her, probably. Because it's very difficult for me to imagine, even though there's people like this. But I'm just struggling to imagine that this person makes over six figures and she still felt the need to complain. I just don't see why she would even bother doing it in that situation.
You need to prioritize your fucking life and shut the fuck up and keep it moving like the rest of us. Oh, then you had to say we had all work together. Y'all niggas got us with that before. We worked together and y'all stepped on our necks and climbed to the top. You took history class, right? Fuck out of here.
I don't know entirely what she's talking about, but if she's implying, because this guy's white, that when he said we need to work together, unless he explicitly said anything about a specific group, specifically in this case a black people, that I don't see why she's under the assumption that she said that he means to work together with us. He probably don't want to work. He could have just meant his own people. Some people may mean everybody, regardless of group and association, but you would be making an assumption unless explicitly stated by that individual what group they was talking about. So she emotionally made the presumption that he meant black people. He could be racist enough to mean that, hey, when I say work together, I don't want to work with y'all. I just want to work with everybody else. Or I just want to work with white people. We don't know what he meant. So, because I haven't seen the video, and it seemed like it was just some rando that made the video that she's talking about, I'm just gonna go off of what she said. And to me, he probably didn't mean any specific group, but she took it as being about her group of people. And I don't see where she could have gotten that information from unless he's explicitly said it. So this is what I mean by she's making statements of facts based on presumptions that she don't even know for sure is true or not. She don't even know if he was talking about black people based on what she said so far. And therefore, why are you worrying about saying things like, y'all stepped on our nest and climbed to the top? That statement is worthless if we don't entirely know if he was specifically talking about the inclusion of working together with black people as well. We don't know that. He could have just meant every other group. He could have just meant white people. We don't know exactly who he was talking about. So, hey, that's all I got. Tell me what your thoughts are. Oh, and by the way, going forward, like I said, if I haven't said it already, this video and going forward other videos, I'm not using background music. It's too much gray area going on with background music or just music in general. Everybody wants some type of piece of the pie. They got all these little rules and stipulations. I already got to worry about the rules and terms and conditions with YouTube. I don't want to have to add more rules that I can very easily mess up on dealing with people who make some music, some low tier ass background music, and then, oh, well, you can't monetize your videos. It's free to use, but you can't monetize your videos because then we want a piece of, all right, well, guess what? I'm just not going to use your music. So now you get no publicity of your music. You get no usage of your music, and it just sits there. If that's what you're cool with, fine. But I'm going for, I'm not using no more background music. I like jazz, but with all this stipulations, nah. I'm just gonna keep it. You just gonna have to hear some fucking birds chirping or some shit. I'll figure something out. All right. Talk to y'all later. See you.